My name is Matt Carnovale. I work at the Northeast Broadway store in Portland, and I've been there for 3 years now. My favorite coffee is probably the Ethiopian Supernatural. I feel like the first time I tasted that coffee, it just kind of blew my mind. It's deceivingly flavorful in that you think it's like artificially flavored, but it's such a natural blueberry flavor that comes along with it. And it just kind of changed my whole perspective on coffee, really. That's like my favorite part of the job, like these courses that we're serving, and just to have the pleasure of serving my own creation to these people that are super experienced in coffee and make these decisions for us, like all the way in the back of the chain, like before it even gets to us, is like such an honor. It's nice to be able to have those people taste your drinks and critique you on that. It's amazing. My biggest advice is stay curious. Like, your job is only going to be as interesting as you make it. Keep exploring new things. And then just really, no matter what you do, just like stay close to your coffee. Like, know what you're tasting, be able to talk about it, and keep tasting it because it's going to change. I decided to pick the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, the Oregon chapter, as the charity I'll be donating to. I really am amazed with what they do, just in that, part of the donation goes to research for new treatments and gives people dealing with this disease options. And there's other things where it goes into just making sure these people are comfortable. And then there's even really fun things where they're sponsoring athletes and stuff like that to raise more money for the cause. So I think it's just something that will keep on giving. And I picked it I have a family member that is battling with leukemia, and also I have a really close friend and coworker who recently lost someone to leukemia. Really just anyone who has helped me along the way. There's been so many people that just have offered up, let me taste this, oh, can I try your signature beverage? So just really my manager, Kate, the coffee and tea specialist at my store at the time, William Berner Beckley. He's been a huge inspiration. All my friends, all my coworkers, my family, and Nate as well.
So briefly, this is Matt, as you know, and he is a shift leader at the Northeast Broadway Peet store, which I'm very familiar with Matt's work because that's my home store. So I get to see Matt in action often. So he's been at Peet's for 3 years. He's been a shift leader for about 2 of those. And I asked for some quotes from some of the people in his district, and I got pretty much a novel back. And I'm not going to read them all today. In fact, I'm not going to read any of them because my quotes are actually, they just walked away over there. But, oh, okay, I will. I'll read a couple. So in asking some of the coworkers to talk a little bit about Matt, just a few lines here. From John Perry, district manager of Portland. It might go without saying that Matt is one of Portland's finest. His skill is unmatched, his knowledge is remarkable, and his engagement is nothing short of brilliant. What impresses me about Matt, and perhaps what has brought him forward amongst his peers, is his ability to make coffee approachable to everyone. The novice and the expert are equally at ease with Matt, and they both walk away feeling as if they were enriched by the experience. I can also attest to that being true, actually. And then from Mikey, Matt can solve your coffee crisis, fashion crisis, like your grandpa solves crossword puzzles, effortlessly and in a robe. And then from Jessica, shucks, I'm so darn proud of Matt. He really inspired me to become a tasting maniac. Just a couple fun facts about Matt. He's from New York, as you heard earlier, where he learned about coffee, and that was that it was burnt and brown. Lived in China for a couple months, where it was packaged or in a can. And since then, he's been working with much higher quality coffee. And I think as you'll see today, he has fun with that as well. So without further ado, Matt.
All right, thank you so much for that awesome introduction there. Probably could not have done it better myself. All right, let's do time. All right, hello Tomar, Rochelle, Loretta, and Doug. Thank you for joining me tonight. My name is Matt, and I'll be making you 3 beverages for this competition. Not counting this water. It's important to stay hydrated. Okay, so the first beverage is going to be a single shot of espresso. The second is going to be a traditional cappuccino. And the third is going to be a signature beverage that I call the Casual Friday, which I'll describe a little more in a couple of moments because I love surprises. So each of these beverages on the menu are going to be designed to convey the versatility of the espresso that I've chose. And did I say tonight? I didn't. Usually the competitions are at night, so I'm saying tonight. Anyway, this morning I will be using the Espresso Forte blend. And that choice alone kind of leads us to a pretty big question. Why did I choose this espresso? Well, for one, it's the first blend at Peet's that was designed from the ground up to be used as an espresso. So that means our blenders were faced with a question. They were like, okay, how do we want to approach this? We want to have a harmonious profile, and we also want to consider the fact that a shot of espresso is a concentrated cup of coffee. These are amplified flavors that we're working with. So what they came up with for the Espresso Forte blend was, through rigorous tasting, like through each origin, a blend of Indonesian and pop-out coffees that really complemented their shining star, a naturally processed Brazilian bean. Of course, I can't go into specifics on this coffee just because Peet's Espresso Forte blend is top secret, and these blends do change. The beans change. It's a crop. It's an organic thing. So with that in mind, I first, when I started as a barista, I was like really frustrated by this, but I came to realize that it just really promoted curiosity and tasting, and really it's just celebrating the way that the blend was developed through tasting each step of the way. And secondly, it's just year-round has produced a wait on that. Just a thick, rich crema. Thick, rich crema, a stout body, and a harmonious, dynamic flavor profile. And it's those consistencies that I appreciate, and it's those changes that I really appreciate. That's why I picked Espresso Forte. So I'm going to pull some shots for you. Okay. Go. So as I was warming up today, I really got to, like, with the flavor profile, a bright start, moving into a sweet Dutch cocoa flavor, really smooth, and it finished off with like a caramelized sugar lingering in the finish. And I'm looking for about 28 seconds on the extraction time. And I know things are going well based on my smooth honey-like flow. So far, so good. I decided to go with for about 6 days resting from the roast date. I found that the espresso calmed down a little bit, but the flavor was not lost. Thank you, Tomar. Thank you, Rochelle. Okay, thank you, Loretta. Thank you, Doug. Please enjoy while I move on to prepare your traditional cappuccinos. So, the traditional cappuccino, it's really said to be like a true test of a barista's skills, just in that it's supposed to embody the perfect balance between milk and coffee. And I found the Espresso Forte works out quite nicely with this beverage because the sweetness of the steamed milk just really brings forward those Dutch cocoa notes. So it's an incredibly pleasant experience. Also, if you kind of taste through it, you'll notice maybe even a couple of nutty notes come out, which again adds to the experience. It's quite tasty. All right, so I'm going to quiet down a little bit while I make these beverages. There's a lot of focus and a lot of things going on at once, which always scares our baristas in training. So here we go. Can I get a little more music? Thank you. Let's get this party started. So now on to the Casual Friday, after all that suspense was built there. So when I was approaching this beverage, I really wanted to do something that kind of just like changed the way that we were approaching drinking our drinks. I wanted to do something really fun. And what I came up with was the Casual Friday. And what that is just about a dollop of the this blueberry lime puree that I made, sweetened with sugar. I got to give a shout out to my coworker Jessica. This was developed off of her jam, so she handpicked the berries right outside of Portland. All right, next up, we move on to just a about 5 ounces of Pellegrino, and then we're gonna top it off with a single shot of our ever so famous, thank you, Espresso Forte. And probably like my favorite thing about this is just the visual appearance. It goes through quite a few different changes, just pretty much at each step of the way. So I'm gonna add my Pellegrino here. And even now it's just a really pretty color. This is like my Bob Ross moment for drink making. Pretty trees, pretty berries, blending together with bubbly water. So let's talk about flavor. What are you going to, or what should you expect from this? Well, with those blueberries, it really brings like a malty character to the espresso. And I feel like a lot of like the Indo-Pacific and Papao components really shine through here. So it's a very earthy, malty cup. But with the Pellegrino, that carbonated water, it doesn't like hang. It's not too heavy. So it's very light and refreshing. A great way to end a work week. The Casual Friday. Okay, here we go. Now this is all very nice. Let's get some espresso in there, shall we? Consider too is the temperature. I did a lot of experimenting with the temperature on this drink, and just considering like why isn't it hot? Why isn't it made with ice? I found that when it was hot, take a look at that, Tomar, your little explosion there. I found that when it was hot, it soured a little bit, and when it was iced, it just kind of muddled the flavors. But at this temperature that we're serving it now, the complexities really shine through, and it kind of just made me think about like much like a wine or a beer. Sometimes room temperature is the right temperature to be served at. And once again, for my favorite part of making this beverage, let's watch that explosion. It needs sound effects. So if I could give a little direction in drinking, I don't know if you guys had sipped first, and I apologize for that. But if you could give a little stir, sniff, and then sip. It's really, really nice to get the aromatics along with the tasting experience. It just brings it round and completes the experience. So, thank you. So as the last link in a really long line of quality and selectivity, I feel a huge responsibility in serving this espresso at its finest. So I hope I did that today for you, and I hope these drinks really demonstrated the versatility of the Espresso Forte and just highlighted the different ways in which it could be approached. Thank you. And I thank you all for trying my drinks, and I hope you'll excuse me while I clean up this mess.
Okay, Matt, you made it.
I made it.
Yeah! Last but not least, for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't think we've ever had a drink quite like that, a cool one. So that was
There's a
quite
lot
the
of-
experience
lot
and
of
treat to
changes.
watch.
Thank you so much.
So I didn't catch it. Did it have a name?
The Casual Friday, yeah.
Casual Friday. Okay. It's very, very interesting to watch that. So how did you get the blueberries down here?
How did I get, oh man, that was quite a thing to consider. I had to, first I planned on like separating it just for some reason if it like broke or something on the way here. So I had to check the bag and just make sure it got here safely. I wrapped it like 6 times.
That was really great.
Yeah.
So what was most memorable as you were making the drinks?
Most miserable about the whole experience?
Yeah.
Well, it's all kind of a blur right now.
Oh, it is? Okay.
But I'm sure as it settles in, I mean, I feel like, you know, it was just like as if you were at work. Like, you just got to roll with it. You're sometimes talking to customers. Like, if we're in a rush, you just take it as it comes. You're going to stumble a little bit, but I feel like I picked it right back up. I knew it happened and rolled with it.
So as a result of just this experience, what are you going to do differently when you go back?
Oh, man. Really just try to get everyone I work with and even like customers more involved with just talking about what's going on in the store, what I'm doing, what they're doing, and just I feel like that communication is amazing. Just even from this experience, the feedback from everybody that we've been working with has been awesome.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Matt.
Okay. Thanks a lot.